All right, well, it's 4 o'clock, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Welcome everyone to session 9 of application week. My name is Liz. I work with Iowa College Aid, who is coordinating this event. And all week, if this is your first session for the week, we have been offering application and admission sessions. And actually this Friday and Saturday, we're going to be hosting an application fair. So if you're a senior in high school or you know a senior in high school that is applying to schools in Iowa, definitely have them check that out. You can get all that information on our website at iowacollegeaid.gov/application week. Not only can you register for the application fair, but you can also see the other sessions that are offered throughout the week here. So you can also check us out on Facebook. We have all our events on Facebook with more information and how to register for those events. And today we have a special treat. We will be hearing about the Last Dollar Scholarship from Tristan, Keeley, and myself. And so we'll go through everything you need to know about the Last Dollar Scholarship and hopefully get all of your questions answered. And if you have questions throughout the session, please put those in the Q&A box and we'll be sure to get those answered for you before we leave here today. And we will actually end by 4:55. So if you're going to that 5 o'clock session, we can get you to that next session right on time. Let's see. And just know that all of our sessions are being recorded. So if you want to refer back to it later, or if you have a friend or family member that wants the information, they can go to our website and get that there. So with that quick intro, I will hand it over to Tristan to get us started here momentarily.
All righty, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Tristan Lynn. I am a program administrator for Iowa College Aid. I administer the Last Dollar Scholarship. So I'm here today to kind of talk to you about what is the Last Dollar Scholarship, go through some eligibility criteria, talk about which colleges are actually eligible to participate in the Last Dollar Scholarship, what programs are eligible, a little bit about the application process, and then I'm going to turn it over to Keeley and Liz, and they'll talk about some additional support as students are progressing through their programs. So what is the Last Dollar Scholarship? Essentially, it's a scholarship. It covers remaining tuition and institution-wide fees after all the other state and federal financial aid has been applied. So it is what it says it is. It pays last dollar scholarship, so it's free money. Students don't have to pay it back. It's for students that are attending Title IV eligible certificate, diploma, or associate degree fields in a high need field. So they can't be going for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. It's for an associate degree or lower. And what I mean by Title IV eligible, it's just eligible to take out federal student loans or eligible for Pell Grant. So it's really just a hierarchy of eligibility criteria that we use based on the FAFSA. So essentially there are 3 different eligible student populations. Our first eligible student population would be our Iowa high school graduates that enroll in one of the eligible programs full-time. So what we mean by Iowa high school graduate is somebody who has graduated high school from Iowa and they're under the age of 20 years old. And the age is calculated as of July 1st prior to the academic year. So for the 2021 school year, students that started this year, if they were under the age of 20 as of July 1st of 2020, they fall under this category of high school graduate. The second category is a new category this year. It's for those Iowa high school graduates that are working in an approved work-based learning program. And this allows them to enroll just part-time. So they're not required to enroll full-time because they are actually working in a work-based learning program. The third population is our adult learner population. Those are the students that are 20 years or older as of July 1st prior to the academic year. And they also are only required to be at least part-time. So additional eligibility criteria The recipients who met one of those three criteria, whether they were high school graduate in a work-based learning program, or an adult student over the age of 20 as of July 1st, they also must plan to earn one of those certificate, diploma, or associate degrees that are aligned with a designated high-demand job. And what we mean by designated high-demand job is a high-demand job that's been designated by the Iowa Workforce Board that is deemed as high need in the state of Iowa. Students also have to have applied for all other non-repayable state and federal aid. So what we mean by non-repayable aid is aid that you don't have to pay back, such as scholarships and grants. So we're not requiring students to apply for loans. We're just simply requiring them to apply for all of the free money that they can get before we apply the last dollar scholarship. Essentially, it's that Title IV aid that I talked about earlier. Students are also required to attend an orientation, meet with an advisor. They must remain continuously enrolled and continuously receiving the scholarship. Summer is the only exception for that. So students, if they're enrolled in fall and spring and their program doesn't require them to attend in the summer, they're not required to attend in the summer in order to remain eligible in the next fall based on that continuous enrollment requirement. Students are also required to make satisfactory academic progress. Basically what that is just maintaining progress throughout their academic program so that they're not falling behind. Each college has their own specific satisfactory academic progress or SAP policy that they follow. So we just require that students are following the SAP policies at the schools that they're going to. Students can receive the last dollar scholarship for up to 5 full-time semesters. So if they're a high school graduate student, they can receive it for up to 5 full-time semesters, and then 8 part-time semesters if you're in one of those other categories, in that work-based learning category or an adult student. So the idea is getting students in their program, getting them to complete, continuously enroll, and then ideally they finish their program before they meet this cap of the 5 full-time semesters or the 8 part-time semesters. Recipients must also apply for the scholarship each year, so they have to apply for all of that financial aid each year in order to remain eligible for the last dollar scholarship. So what colleges are eligible? It's schools that offer eligible programs of study. So eligible programs, associate's degree or lower, that go towards one of those high demand fields. They also have to agree to provide those required student services. So the things that students are required to do, schools have to agree to provide those services to students, such as orientation, academic advising, or career advising. So the schools that are eligible for the last dollar scholarship are all of Iowa's community colleges. And then we have 2 accredited private colleges in Iowa that actually offer associate degrees or lower in one of the high demand fields. They have actually applied to participate in the last dollar scholarship program. And those 2 colleges are Mercy College of Health Sciences here in Des Moines, Iowa, and then St. Luke's in Sioux City, Iowa. So the eligible programs that students are eligible for. So the list is based on high demand jobs. That list comes from the Iowa Workforce Development Board. They review that list each year. So that means the list may change from year to year. However, in the Iowa Code, there is grandfathering language. What that means is if a student's enrolled in an eligible program one year, and then that program were to be removed from the list the following year, as long as they're continuously enrolled and continuously receiving that scholarship, they'll be eligible for it until they meet that 5 full-time semester or 8 part-time semester cap. The current list of eligible programs can be found at iowacollegeaid.gov/last dollar. And the 2021-2022 school year list is projected to be released in mid-October, mid to late October. So what kind of programs are those that are on the high demand list? We're going to talk a lot more about kind of what you can do with those degrees towards the end of our session here. But I just wanted to give you kind of a taste of the different kind of categories of eligible programs or high demand jobs, such as healthcare, biosciences, construction and engineering, advanced manufacturing production, installation and maintenance, and information technology. So nursing, any healthcare, dental assistant, welding, a lot of IT programs are eligible for the last dollar scholarship. So what's the application process look like for the last dollar scholarship? It's simple. It's just the filing the FAFSA or the free application for federal student aid. This must be done annually. Each year there is a deadline to complete the FAFSA by in order to qualify for the last dollar scholarship. For the 2021 school year, that deadline was August 1st. It has not been established for the 21-22 school year yet. In order to complete the FAFSA, you can go to fafsa.ed.gov. You can complete it online. You can request a paper copy, complete it on paper and mail it in. And they actually have a mobile app where you can complete the FAFSA now just on your phone. Schools will notify recipients of their eligibility. So schools will receive the FAFSA as well as Iowa College Aid. We will go through and make sure that students are meeting the requirements, whether it's high school graduation in Iowa or their age. Once we determine that, we send these colleges lists of potentially eligible students who have indicated that they're interested in attending their institution on the FAFSA. We'll notify those schools of the students that may qualify, and the schools kind of go through the rest. They ensure that students are enrolled in eligible programs and meeting all of the additional requirements for the scholarship. And I think that's about all I have right now, and I'll definitely hang on so that I can answer questions for you, but I'm going to pass it over to Keely.
Hey everyone, it's actually Liz. I'm going to go over these next couple areas for you. So in addition to the scholarship itself, recipients of the last dollar scholarship are also eligible for additional support services. So we offer the virtual coach texting program, AmeriCorps Success Coaches, as well as the Future Ready Iowa Mentoring Program. And like I said, these are all available to our last dollar scholarship students. The virtual coach texting program is essentially coaching via text message. So students have the option to opt in to receive text messages from a success coach that is there to help them succeed. So not only will students receive information and reminders regarding the scholarship, but they will also receive guidance to assist them through college and really all aspects of college life. So our virtual coach will send tips and advice to help students be successful, as well as connect them with resources on their prospective campuses. The texting program is also a two-way communication. So students have the ability to text in questions. They can get help from a real person. It's definitely a personalized two-way communication, which has been super beneficial for our last dollar scholarship students as they are navigating college life at their institutions. Our texting program is also available to high school students. So if you're a current high school student or you work with high school students, definitely snap a picture of this slide. This will guide students on how to opt in. For our high school students, it's more of we help them through the college going process of getting them to school, as opposed to that success piece, which is what we do with our last dollar scholarship students. But we do offer the service to high school students as well. And then for those that become last dollar scholarship recipients, they will continue to remain in that program for additional help through that. Okay, so next we have actually partnered with AmeriCorps to offer our last dollar scholarship students access to an actual success coach. So these coaches are either on campus or virtual. It depends on the college the students attending. So many of our colleges have or will have an on-campus success coach, but for those that do not have a coach on campus, we have a completely virtual success coach that can assist students as well. So our coaches assist students with, again, all aspects of college life. They not only help students with scholarship and program questions, but they can also connect students with campus and community resources. And they're truly available to help students succeed and persist to get their degrees. And so they are readily available on all of our campuses, whether you want to see them in person or on a virtual level. You can definitely get the assistance that way as well. And lastly, the Future Ready Iowa Career Mentoring Program is another piece of support for our last dollar scholarship students. Recipients can actually sign up to be matched with a career mentor in their field of interest. And all mentors are from Iowa. Many have likely taken a similar path to the students they're mentoring. So they know what you're going through. They've done it themselves. And so it's a really great program to connect students with people that are actually doing the work that they want to do. It's a completely virtual platform where the mentoring takes place. So that's extremely beneficial. So again, you're looking at, you know, some video conferencing, emails, text messages, phone calls, things of that nature. But the mentors can truly help students set them up for success in their chosen career path, not only by offering advice, but also with the tremendous networking opportunities that comes with having a mentor like that. I would say we know that students have access to coaches and mentors will persist at a much higher level. So the scholarship combined with these additional support services can really make a huge difference in a student realizing their post-secondary dreams and really making it happen. So we're super excited to not only offer the scholarship, but also these additional services as well. And so with that, I will pass it over to Keely.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Awesome. So is this too good to be true? It sounds like it, but it's certainly not. So we'll take a look at a few statewide last dollar scholarship eligible programs to get an idea of where you can take them. And maybe it's especially coming from the Career Mentor program, you know, there's many options when it comes to having your degree in certain programs. And so remember, these are the last dollar scholarship programs that are based on your high demand jobs, meaning the Iowa Workforce Development and other partners in Future Ready Iowa, they're looking to see what jobs are available and which ones are going to have the most growth and where we need the skilled workers. And so with your IT and computer programming, whether there's many different paths that come along with a specific degree. So it's not just a one size fits all. For welding, so people who get into welding are usually those who really like to work with their hands and they're not afraid to get dirty. Now, that being said, there's many different things that a person can do with that degree, whether you want to be an assembler or a fabricator or go into a machinist, tool and die maker, sheet metal workers, or plumbers and pipe fitters. There's many different roads. There's not just one typical welding job. The same for HVAC. It sounds like it might be pretty simple or specific, but with different experience and certifications, you can have different types of HVAC careers, whether you're in sales or maybe instruction or specialized services. Another set down the healthcare lane, we're looking at nursing. So hospitals, outpatient clinics, or home healthcare, retirement or assisted living, or even in doctor's offices, schools. You can work in a school, whether K through 12 or on a college campus. And there are a lot of people with a nursing degree that actually go into like an insurance, different types of insurances based on the in the medical field. So all of those different roads or paths can stem from your nursing degree. With a dental hygienist, you can look at a clinical, whether it's private or community clinics, hospitals and nursing homes and schools, again, schools, or a corporate path with sales or being a corporate educator or administration. And then radiology technician. Though most work in hospitals, some professionals choose to work in private healthcare facilities or local medical centers, private imaging centers. There are opportunities that also may be available in larger doctor's offices and therapy centers. These were just a few programs that were pulled from the statewide eligible programs or the statewide high demand jobs, and there's a full list of your high demand jobs on futurereadyiowa.gov. And so for those students who are going into school, and this is a great opportunity to have your tuition and fees paid for, but what do you want to do? There's also a career coach out on futurereadyiowa.gov. If you hover over the adult student or college student section, you can go down and select the career coach from the bottom of the expanded menu, and there they have career assessments to help you really find what you're interested in doing. And you can also browse careers and education and training that would lead you to the career that you want. There's also a resume builder and some veteran assistance for veterans to find civilian careers related to military occupations on Career Coach, but it's really about finding the right fit for you, and if it and happens to be one of these last dollar scholarship eligible programs, even better. So you've heard about the scholarship and the amazing benefits that come along with it. And we've taken a look at the options of what you can do with that degree or certificate in those high demand jobs. So please, if you have any questions for us today, type it into the chat field or the question and answer field, and Liz can let us know and maybe we can get them answered.
So far, we have not received any questions, but we'll wait here a few minutes and let people get their thoughts together and see what they can come up with. I know that this program has a lot of different pieces to it, so we're happy to explain anything that we need to. Okay, here's a question. What if they go to a community college out of state for a high demand job? Tristan, do you want to take that?
Sure. In order to qualify for the last dollar scholarship, students have to be attending one of Iowa's community colleges or one of those two private colleges that have applied to participate in the last dollar scholarship program. Unfortunately, if a student goes out of state to a different community college out of state, they will not qualify. But reading the question again, you may have meant if a student goes to a community college in the state of Iowa and then happens to leave Iowa after they receive their degree, there's no repercussions for students who do that. Ideally, we'd like to keep all the students that we possibly can in Iowa because we need those students in those high demand jobs filled. But if they happen to go out of state for a different opportunity, since it is a scholarship, there's no repayment or anything like that on the scholarship.
We have another question that came in. So one of the qualifications is that the student has applied for all possible scholarships and grants available to them. How do we know what those are to make sure we're applying for them? Thank you. Tristan?
All right, I'll take that one too. We really are only looking at scholarships and grants that are offered by the Federal Student Aid Office and Iowa College Aid. So simply by a student completing the FAFSA, they've applied for all the scholarships and grants through the Federal Department of Education. And then through the state of Iowa, we'll have those records as well. So completing the FAFSA is them applying for all the scholarships and grants that they can for purposes of the scholarship.
That was a good question. We still have plenty of time, so if you do have more questions, again, please feel free to type them in the chat and we will give it a few more minutes. can the scholarship be used for gen eds? Tristan, would you like to take that one as well?
If the gen eds are a particular part of the eligible program and the student is enrolled in that eligible program at the time, then yes, it can cover general education courses. If we're talking about prerequisites before a student goes into, we'll say, a nursing program, students technically aren't enrolled in that nursing program yet. They're not enrolled in any program. They're just taking prerequisites, so they would not qualify for the last dollar scholarship to pay for those prerequisite general education courses.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, another question here. Do we need to wait for the FAFSA to be completed before applying for the last dollar, or is it all one application process?
It is as simple as one application. So completing the FAFSA is applying for the last dollar scholarship.
These are some great questions, you guys. Okay. Here's a question. If a student starts college from high school and their first semester they haven't declared a program, but the second semester they go into an eligible program, will they qualify in the second semester? Tristan, that's a little more complicated. Would you mind answering that one?
Absolutely. So if a student starts college after high school, they would be in that high school population group. If they're not enrolled in an eligible program or haven't declared a program yet, they're not going to qualify for the last dollar scholarship for that first semester. However, in the second semester, the student realizes what they want to do, and they do enroll in a high demand field. They will absolutely qualify for the last dollar scholarship, barring that they met all the other qualifications.
Perfect. As you guys can all see, Tristan is our expert on all last dollar scholarships, so keep the questions coming for him. All right, any final questions? And then we'll get you guys out of here early.
There's one thing that I would like to add. Keely alluded to statewide lists of eligible programs when she was talking about the different career paths that students who receive the last dollar scholarship can take. What we kind of mean by the statewide list is there is a overall statewide eligible list of eligible programs. However, in Iowa code, it does allow all of Iowa's community colleges to pick some regional programs. So you may see, as you're looking at the lists from school to school, there may be a program that's eligible at one institution that's not necessarily eligible at another. And in those cases, generally, it's the school was able to pick a regional program that they wanted, that they felt was high demand in their region. So that may be where you see discrepancies between one school to another.
We did have another question come in, Tristan. Is there a max number of terms I can receive the scholarship?
Yes. So the maximum number of terms, it depends on which group you are, which eligibility group you fall under. So if you're an Iowa high school graduate, so under the age of 20, and you're not in a work-based learning program, the maximum number of terms or semesters you can receive the scholarship is 5. So essentially, it'll take care of 2.5 years worth of schooling. If you're an adult learner, 20 years or older, or if you're one of those Iowa high school graduates that are working in an approved work-based learning program, you can attend up to 8 part-time semesters and still receive the last dollar scholarship.
Perfect. Another question just came in. You stated that there is no FAFSA deadline yet for the 2021 year, but I saw an October 1st date. Is this the start or the deadline?
Good question. So October 1st is the beginning of the application cycle for each year. So for 2021, well, I guess, excuse me, for the 21-22 school year, which will start next fall, the FAFSA application cycle actually begins on October 1st. So what I always tell students is the earlier you can complete the FAFSA, the better off you're going to be. Some other programs have deadlines that are quicker than that. We do have programs at Iowa College Aid where the deadline is March 1st. So it's always important to apply and complete the FAFSA as soon as possible, just to ensure you're going to get the most money possible.
Perfect. This question's a little bit longer. What if the student enrolls in one of the eligible programs and completes that program at the community college level, but then decides to go on to a university to build upon that degree that they received at the community college? Are there any repercussions to that?
Quick answer, no. There's no repercussions. Once a student is attending an eligible program, receiving last dollar scholarship, they're eligible to receive that last dollar scholarship at that institution until they either graduate or meet that cap. If this student decides to go on for a bachelor's degree, as we know, last dollar scholarship won't pay for anything that's above an associate's degree or pay at a college that doesn't participate in last dollar scholarship. So if they do go on to a university to build on their degree, whether it's to get a bachelor's degree, they would not qualify for the last dollar scholarship at the new school. However, it's a scholarship. There are no repercussions. Students are not be required to pay that money back. Great question.
Mm-hmm. All right, any other questions? Feel free to type them in the chat box. Okay, here's one. If a student starts a program at one community college and moves or transfers to another, does that count as continued enrollment?
As long as they're enrolled in an eligible program at both community colleges, it does not have to be the same eligible program, but as long as the student hasn't met their 5 full-time semester max or their 8 part-time semester max, they would certainly be eligible at the new community college, as long as it's in one of those high demand eligible programs at the college. So the difference between the last question and this question was student is building on a program, building on a degree that's probably a bachelor's degree or higher, and that school or the degree wouldn't qualify. But if a student still has some lifetime eligibility left, they can certainly start another program at another community college as long as it's an eligible last dollar scholarship program.
Give it just a couple more minutes for questions to come in, and then I will just end with a couple little announcements and get you guys either to your next session or get ready for the evening. All right, well, I will go ahead and close us out here. While I'm talking, again, you are still welcome to throw questions in the chat box if something comes up. But I just wanted to circle back to my announcement in the beginning that we will be hosting additional sessions throughout the week. In fact, our next session at 5 p.m. is all about the FAFSA with ICANN. So if you are interested or have questions about FAFSA and completing the FAFSA, definitely check that session out. I think it'll be a great session talking all about FAFSA. So I will stick the website link in the chat box so you guys have it, so you can register if you're interested. But also while you're there, feel free to check out the other sessions that we have throughout the week, as well as the application fair here on Friday and Saturday. So let me go ahead and get that in there so you guys have it. Okay. So there is the website. So if you want to learn about the FAFSA, that is at 5. And then again, we've got sessions throughout the whole week. So